Hey guys, welcome to
Another magical day. If you're watching this video, you probably think you're going to Disney World. So first of all, hooray! You're going to Disney World! Maybe you won the Super Bowl, maybe you just want to meet the mouse, maybe you just want to go on a really cool vacation. Regardless, you're going to Disney World. So today we're going to talk about a couple of things that you want to keep in mind right at the beginning once you decide that you're going to Disney World. The first thing, the most important thing, when are you going? Kevin and I have gone in two different times. We've gone in March and we've gone in July. And we picked our times, one based on our anniversary, and then the other one was based on my younger sibling's school schedules. So it was during the summer. You definitely want to do some research and you want to find out what the slower and busier times are. Now, Kevin and I, we are not the inventors of crowd calendars or anything like that, but we have linked some of the other ones below that are good resources. We may not always have the answers for you, but we'll definitely tell you where you can find them and where we've found the answers.
So in July when we went, it was extremely busy and extremely hot. And most likely because of the school calendar, because we just brought Jen's younger siblings.
Yeah, the heat was definitely a factor. So that was more important for us to go ahead and take those midday naps and breaks back at the pool and back at our hotel. But so yeah, you definitely want to factor in when are you going to go? What are the factors that are saying? Are you looking to aim it for the grand opening of a certain attraction or land? We know that there'll be a lot of those coming in the coming years for Disney. A certain party, like the Halloween party or the Christmas party, or are you just looking to go when there aren't a lot of people there? Definitely use a crowd calendar for that.
Another thing you consider is the weather. If you want to go when it's extremely hot or if it's a colder Florida day.
Which colder to us Florida day is not cold by any means. But regardless of when you want to go, you want to make sure that you make that decision. We would say 200 days out. Sounds crazy, I know. Who wants to plan a trip 200 days out? But realistically, the reason for that is at 180 days, so about 6 months, you can actually plan your dining reservations. And realistically, in order to plan your dining reservations, you don't need to know anything other than when you're going. You don't need your hotel reservations, you don't need park tickets, you don't need any of those things. You just need to know when you're going, and then you can hop on and do your dining reservation.
So why it's important to book 180 days out is the table service at the parks get extremely busy, and for example, if you don't have a reservation for Be Our Guest, you're most likely not getting in.
Yeah, Be Our Guest is definitely the hot ticket right now. A lot of the character breakfasts and lunches and dinners, so like Cinderella's Royal Table and Oscar House, I don't know, I can't say that one. We're getting it. The one that's in Norway that has princesses. We've never been there, so maybe next time we go we'll ask, how do you say this? But anyways, you want to book those as soon as you can. And the thing is that booking it doesn't lock you into it. You can book it and then decide, you know what, no, we aren't going to be in Magic Kingdom that day. We can't go to Be Our Guest, we're going to cancel it. Chances are you may not get the reservation for the other day that you do want to go to Magic Kingdom and to Be Our Guest, but at least you know you have it. And let's say you book them and you think you're going to go in September, turns out you're not going until November, go ahead and cancel it. There's no penalty as long as you cancel it up until midnight the night before you're supposed to go. So that's the first thing to consider when you are booking your trip. When are you going? And you want to make sure you decide that before 180 days so that you can book your reservations. The next thing to think about is, where are you staying? Are you going to stay on site? Are you going to stay off site? Because similar to the dining, that's going to affect whether or not you do a dining plan. Maybe you like the dining plan, maybe you don't. But in order to get the dining plan, you have to stay on site. Kevin and I have both stayed on site and off site, so we have a little bit of experience about both. Some of the benefits of staying on site is, first of all, you're on site. You're at the Disney resort. You also will experience that Disney magic and Disney theming throughout your entire stay, whether you're in your hotel or at the parks. Another perk of staying on site is the magic band. Now my magic band, you'll see, is just a normal old yellow band. But so you'll get these staying on site. Now off-site people, you could get a magic band similar to what Kevin has
Grumpy.
on. But those you'd have to pay for, but you can still get a magic band. So you're not totally left out, but you get it for free. So that's a perk. Another thing is called extra magic hours. What that means is anyone who is staying on resort is able to get into the parks either early or stay late, one of the two. You have to be a resort guest in order to enjoy the extra magic hours. Now some people say, well, if it's an extra magic hour stay, avoid that park. Why do people say that? That's because if you don't buy the park hopper and you're a resort guest, and let's say it's morning early extra magic hours at Magic Kingdom, that means resort guests who do not have a park hopper will probably go to Magic Kingdom. So that means all of those guests are funneled there, whereas the 3 other parks don't have as many people there. We hop it back and forth. Sometimes we'll go to the parks that have extra magic hours, sometimes we don't. We just, if we want to use it and that's the day we want to be in the park, awesome. If not, no big deal. If you get there early, you're probably going to be able to skip some of the lines anyways. Another perk to staying on site is the Disney transportation. And this is not only the transportation, something from Kev, this is not only the transportation from your resort to the parks, but also from the Orlando airport to your resort. You could actually plan a Disney trip. You can, once you leave your home airport, you cannot have to worry about any type of transportation again until you get home and have to be sad that Disney trip is over. Because realistically, they'll pick you up from the airport on the Disney Magical Express, and then they'll bring you right to your resort, and then from there you can take the Disney transportation. And that could be the buses, it could be if you're staying in a monorail resort, the monorail, lots of ways to get where you need to go on Disney if you're on property.
Also, if you are taking the Magical Express, you don't have to worry about your luggage at all. Once you leave your airport, Disney takes care of the rest. So by the time you get to your hotel room, your luggage will be waiting there for you.
Yeah, it's definitely a perk to be able to have that. If you can't tell, we are definitely stay on Disney property people. Another thing that if you are off-site though, is you probably are going to need to rent a vehicle. You're going to need to be able to drive to and from the parks and go ahead and plan that. So you're going to have to deal with parking, but again, the parking is not that bad. And then there is the little shuttles and trams that take you from your parking spot to the park gates.
And
so
also
there's that too.
Paying for parking every day too.
Right.
If you are not staying on the resort, you have to pay for parking every day.
Yep.
I think it's $20 or $25.
I believe it's 20, yeah. Yeah, and so that's another thing too, is you could do a hybrid. If you want to stay on site but you want to rent a car, your parking at the parks is actually included. So let's say you just really don't want to deal with the Disney transportation, a perk of staying on site is free parking at the parks as well. So another thing about staying on site that helps with what we were talking about with the timeline is your Fast Pass Plus reservations. If you stay on site at a Disney resort, you are able to book your Fast Passes 60 days in advance. So that way you can go ahead and probably pick really great Fast Passes. The cool thing about that too is not only do you get to book 60 days in advance, but let's say your resort reservation is for 1 week. 60 days from the first day of your stay, you get to book your Fast Passes for all 7 days. So really, you're booking 67 days in advance. So let's say you really want that Frozen Ever After Fast Pass at a specific time, and they're hard to come by right now. You go ahead, you log on to get your Fast Passes, and you'll be able to book it. If you can't get it for 60 days out, you can't get it for 63 days out, you probably can get it for 67 days out. You're probably one of the few people that are going online right at that point trying to get that Fast Pass. If you stay off site, you still get to book your Fast Passes early, but it's 30 days out. And now another thing with that is not only are you able to book, but any annual pass holders, any Florida residents that are going. So there's going to be a lot more people trying to book it 30 days out, and then there would be at 60 days out, and you're not going to have as much of a selection because those staying on site have already gone through and picked their Fast Passes.
And for those who don't know what Fast Passes are, so Fast Passes, you can pick up the 3 a day.
At first.
At 1st. And if you use those 3, you can check your app to see if there's more available, or they have FastPass kiosks that you can choose from. But sometimes waits on rides are 90 minutes, 60 minutes, and FastPasses allow you to select a 1 hour time frame where you can skip that line and get on within about 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep, and we can do another video about fast passes and what it means and what different strategies there are to book your fast passes, because you do want to put a little bit of thought into it to try to maximize your time on the rides and minimize your times in the queues. So look for that video.
The queues aren't bad though.
Yeah, there's some fun ones. So another thing to put into your mind with all of this, with your trip and all of those things, if you are staying on site and you don't book a package, meaning you don't add in your tickets to your reservation, you want to make sure you purchase your tickets and load them into your My Disney experience before that 30-day mark. Because like we just said, you can book your fast passes 60 days in advance. Well, let's say you don't want to buy your tickets yet. You want to make sure you get them in there though, because remember that 30-day time frame, anyone can book fast passes. So you're losing the benefit of booking fast passes early if you don't put your tickets into your reservation before the 30-day mark and get in there and get those. Now again, if it's a hard to get fast pass, you might not get it if you delay from that 60 days. So my recommendation would definitely be buy your tickets before 60 days, put them into your My Disney experience, and then be able to get your fast passes right on that 60-day mark. So a couple of other things that'll happen, mainly these are for people that are staying on site, is about 30 days before your trip, you're going to get some Mickey mail. What that'll be, this is from an old trip that we went on. You'll get this from the Disney Magical Express. It'll be information about your trip and some luggage tags. We had some extras from before, so let's get that out. So yeah, so you'll have some luggage tags, and then you put these, as Kevin was talking about, you put these luggage tags on your bag, and then you don't have to worry about them. From your airport to Orlando, they'll go ahead, they'll get your luggage off your plane, they'll put it right on their transportation, and get it to your resort. And
they'll put it back on your plane while leaving.
Yes, yeah, so it's really a smooth process and very, very helpful. Another thing that'll happen about 3 weeks before you leave, again, if you're staying on site, you'll get your magic bands. Look at a cool box like this, which is very, very exciting mail to get. And it will actually have your magic bands in it. So then you can go ahead and you'll want to make sure that you have these with you if you are getting on the Magical Express. These bad boys end up being the key to your world. We'll explain those in another video as well. But yeah, so you'll get those about 3 weeks beforehand. And then about a week before your trip, you just want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. All your reservations are all set. You want to make sure that you're starting to think about packing. And then the day, as you're leaving and the day of, you need to make sure that your magic bands are in your bag so that if you're riding the Magical Express, it's a smooth transition. You also want to go ahead, and if you did miss out on some of those hard to get reservations, look for them. You never know.
So the night before, people, if they cancel the reservations, they have up to 11:59 to cancel them. So if, let's say that hard reservation, Be Our Guest, somebody can't make it the next day, they'll cancel before then. So you can log on between 10 and midnight usually, and you can probably snag one of the hard to get table services.
Yeah, you never know. Kevin and I planned a short trip. We planned a short trip in a short time frame for our 1 year anniversary. And we actually were able to get into Be Our Guest for lunch because we just checked. And I mean, mind you, we booked our Disney trip 9 days before we left. But I just kept checking. And similarly, when we decided to go with my younger siblings, we didn't book 180 days out. We were more like probably like 100 days out. So we were getting denied Be Our Guest. And it was actually going to be during my birthday, and being that I love Beauty and the Beast, I was determined to get a Be Our Guest reservation. I checked, and I actually, about like 40 days out, somehow, some way, I was able to book Be Our Guest for 4 nights. We didn't keep all 4. but I just was booking them. And I mean, granted, they were at like 9 p.m. and like 4:30 p.m. So they weren't ideal dinner times, but in the end, I got to go to Be Our Guest, and that's all that mattered. So persistence is helpful as well. So anyways, those are some things to think about once you decide that you're going to Disney World. But above all, always make sure that you are having fun and that you are enjoying the planning, because really it's going to be a magical time.
And if you want us to go more in depth on anything, the application, dining reservations, really just anything, pre-planning your trip, just leave it in the comments below, and we will make another video or respond to that comment.
Yep, and don't forget, subscribe, like, and until next time, we hope that you have another magical day.